Good day, sir. Are you the new investigator I sent for? No, I can tell from your attire that you're not from the ministry. Oh, this is terrible. Everyone I send for disappears. There are powers at work here that are beyond my means to control. I'm sorry, I'm not being very clear. Lately, I've just been so frustrated. I am Prefect Jitong. It is my duty to ensure that convicted criminals in the city are sentenced appropriately. But there are complications with my current trial. I have in my custody a suspected slave trader, Chandler Ling. But one of the high-ranking ministers is trying to get him released, and he wants me to convict another man. The man they want to accuse, Scholar Sun Tao, is a friend of mine, and I'm certain of his innocence. I need you to find proof so I can present it to the Minister of Justice. Really? You will help me? Thank you. Thank you so very much. I need to find proof that Ling is the guilty one, and by so doing, exonerate Song Tao. If I can't prove Ling's guilt, I'll be forced to sentence Song Tao to death. But every time I ask someone to discover the truth, they disappear or turn up dead. Our best lead is Zibao, the last person known to have spoken with Ling before his arrest. But Bao knows me and my men. He won't talk to us. I've known Scholar Song Tao for several years. His uncle and my father were good friends. I only wish I knew why the governor wants him accused of this crime. If you want to know more about Song Tao, you should speak with him yourself. Chandler Ling is a well-respected businessman and merchant here in the city. Until recently, I had no reason to suspect him of any wrongdoing. When I investigated Ling's shop, I found a valuable knife that I had purposely entrusted to one of my men, a man who has since disappeared. Chandler Ling had a knife belonging to a man whose body couldn't be found. That was all the evidence I required. I have no idea. The two men were seen together before we arrested Ling, but I have no other information about Zibao. He spends most of his time in the heart of the Empire Tavern, and he doesn't seem to have dealings with anyone else besides Chandler Ling. I know if I went to speak with him, I would get nowhere, but you could speak to him without raising suspicion. I wish there was something concrete I could tell you. They're like a whisper on the wind or a shifting shadow. You think you see something, and then there's nothing. Whoever is behind the slavers must have a great...
I don't know why you're wasting your time. I'm obviously innocent, and yet you still want to risk yourself needlessly. What's to tell? I'm a merchant and quite a good one. My clients are usually very happy with my goods. You likely haven't heard of me simply because I have a very elite clientele. The average person on the street cannot afford the items I sell. Other than my occupation, I suspect we are very much the same, you and I, though I happen to be a little more restricted than you at the moment. In a given day, I meet with several buyers and probably twice as many sellers. There are always more sellers than buyers. My job is to determine whether something is worth buying, not whether the seller is worth buying from. If I see a bargain, I don't care who the seller is. Suffice to say, those items could be from any number of sellers. I don't recall who sold them to me, but that certainly doesn't make me guilty of slave trading. I can honestly say I had never met or heard of the man until he was arrested. He's obviously not wealthy enough to be one of my clients. Apparently, he spends a good deal of time with the poorer folk in the city. No doubt that's why he is under suspicion. Doesn't strike you as a bit odd? A scholar with all the benefits that position entails, choosing to spend time with the poor people. It does seem a little suspicious. Doing? I wasn't doing anything more than I usually do in a day's work. I was selling my wares to a few of my preferred clients. Prefect Jitong was one of them. The next thing I know, guards confiscate my goods and tell me I'm suspected of slave trading. It was likely the most ludicrous thing I've ever been told. Of course, the prefect claims that some of my items belong to his missing men, but that doesn't mean I took the items from their lifeless bodies.
So you think you can free me? Prefect Jitong has sent many good men to their deaths trying to free me. I hope you won't get into similar trouble. Well, that's what Jitong fears. I have no reason to doubt him. Besides, why else would the men not return and their belongings suddenly appear on the market?
Pure coincidence. It's not proof. It's purely circumstantial. Anyone will tell you that.
At any rate, it seems likely that's what has happened to the men. I feel terrible for them, but I have my own problems to deal with, as you can see. I am a scholar, though still a junior scholar by most regards. I assist the philosophers and scholars with their work. It's a good life, though I can't help feeling guilty sometimes. The scholars and philosophers have many privileges, while so many live with so little. I spend my spare time in the poor quarters, helping where I can. If I have any extra money, I use it to help the people there. It's not much, but I like to think it helps. Well, nothing really. I'd never heard of him before this. I heard what Jitong said about him, but that's about it. He seems decent enough, I suppose. Nothing. I've heard rumors in the past few months. The residents in the poor areas were getting worried, though I never knew anyone who disappeared. One of the girls I helped out in the poor area said her uncle had disappeared, but I never met him. She was devastated, of course, and she blamed the slavers. But it was all just speculation. No one had ever seen anyone being abducted. There wasn't even evidence of struggles or violence. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. I was just down in the poor quarters helping a family with some repairs on their hut. I was leaving their house when the guards came for me. They told me I was suspected of abducting people from the poor quarters. I told them it was ridiculous, that I only wanted to help the poor, but they didn't listen. I admit I spend time in the poor quarters, but I don't try to hide it. I'm there several times a week, in fact, usually in plain sight of everyone.
What do you want? Do I know you? Really? Lots of people know me, so what? I'm a little busy right now. I've got a bowl of wine that needs drinking, so why don't you just find someone else to bother? What slave traders would that be? I've never heard of anybody trading slaves around here. Who? I don't know anybody by that name, and I don't know anything about slave traders. Leave me alone. I have nothing to say to you, so why don't you just keep moving? Look, you don't have to get that way. These guys are ruthless. I'm just looking out for myself. I hope they decide to kill you instead of me. Come on. I'll take you there now, but I can't promise you'll get a warm reception.
Zibao, what is the meaning of this? Summoning me to this place was bad enough. You know I can't stand the stench of these beasts. I've already dealt with the last shipment of slaves, and with that damned prefect poking into our affairs, we have to be extra cautious. Now, there's an unknown quantity in this little meeting. Just who are you? Song Tao, isn't that the fool who's taking the fall for Chandler Ling? Well, you've overheard your evidence. Too bad you won't get to tell anyone. Zibao was a fool to bring anyone here. We can't afford anyone nosing into our affairs right now, and you've heard too much. Get him, boys, but don't kill him. We'll get quite a bit of silver for this one. This has gone far enough. You're far better than the last dog who dared cross us. Maybe I was hasty in my decision to attack you. I have an eye for raw talent. That helps when picking slaves, but it comes in handy in sizing up potential allies. Who are you, and why are you here? You're clearly too skilled to be one of the fools hired by Prefect Jitong. So what business or grudge do you have with us?
This kind of thing cannot be allowed to continue.
You're one of them, are you? Another fool like that scholar Song Tao, always thinking the poor are worth saving? You're better than that. You've just shown me your strength. Any poor wretch who had the discipline to fight like you wouldn't let themselves be enslaved. Someone like you deserves to work with me, not oppose me. I have a friend who could use your help, and I'm prepared to pay for it. If only I had a silver coin for every time I've heard that. Come then, let's end it.
What? What do you want? Tried that once, and it didn't work out. Prefect Mu Hong pledged his daughter Mi Shan to me after I cleared his district of bandits. She wasn't ugly, so I agreed. The night of the wedding feast, I got more than a little drunk, and in the morning I woke up in the prefect's bed, next to the prefect's wife. I got up and went into my bride's room, and there was a strange man in her bed. I killed the bastard and was about to kill her when Mishan came into the room yelling. Apparently, I had just killed her sister's husband and was about to kill her sister. I tried to tell her it was an honest mistake, but she wouldn't hear it. The brother-in-law's family was pissed, and so was the prefect when he found out about his wife. They tried to subdue me so they could send me to prison. I killed them all swiftly. None of them suffered. Still, Mishan wouldn't leave with me. She kept crying and complaining about her family. Family life just isn't for me. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Those Lotus assassins won't know what hit them. This might just be the most exciting day of my life. You know, battles like this don't come along every day. We could very well die in there, cut up into small pieces, trying to fight off hundreds of enemies. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Come on, let's go to the fortress and have some fun.
Yes? How can this humble bunmaster assist you today? No. That is a painful subject, one that brings back difficult memories, though not for the reasons you might think. For 4 long years, my bellicose beauty insisted we try and try and try again to have a child. It was a most distressing time. I was so afraid of her for the first year that I could not perform. Her screaming and chastising only made it worse. I overcame that problem, but there were others. No, you have saved my life. You deserve to hear the terrible, awful truth. As I said, there were other problems. My plump plum of a bride is a good deal larger than me. I could compare my nightly efforts akin to climbing a mountain if only it had been that easy. And there was always the fear that she would roll. I am a small man. My delicate frame was not meant for such pressures. I once lost all feeling below the waist. which perhaps was a mercy in itself. Of course, we overcame these obstacles and kept trying for 4 long years. Never. Though no one can accuse me of not trying. Once she decided we would not be able to conceive a child, her interests declined, thankfully. If we had succeeded, I would not have survived to see a second. I still can't believe it's that easy to become a Lotus Assassin. If I had known sooner, I would have joined their ranks as soon as possible. It would be brutal work, with little reward, and there's a good chance I'd die a hideous, painful death. But it couldn't all be better than married life, could it?
What do you want? Oh!
It's time you and I had a talk, mortal. You've been paying too much attention to this girl's problems and the Guardian's advice. We need more realism here. The girl is already dead. She's a walking corpse. She's nothing to anyone. What I want is the body. I need an anchor, and this little walking meat puppet can provide that. But Chaikar gives me trouble. He's in my way. He's weak, but the girl sides with him. To take control, I need your help, and I'm willing to offer servitude for it. Ha! You say that now, but when the time comes, we'll see how much power tempts you. And if you continue to refuse, I still have ways to get my revenge.
ونوير كوب ثائير ثانير أككون أصو سيير سكود أفيفير نوني وسوكي بارير نوكاسيسا إر سونكوت نوا باتيا ييرني أك.
What do you need? Now that you are champion of the Bronze Division, the Silver Division awaits. It seems that, indirectly, this serpent has decided to keep your career interesting. A demon has been added to the regular roster since your earlier victory. And since you've shown aptitude, I'm letting you face him first. This is indeed an honor, though it will not be easy. Are you ready to defeat this horror? Excellent. Follow me and we'll get you ready for your next match. Another demon falls. We shall have to add a new division for you alone if this keeps up. Kylon the Serpent wishes to speak with you personally. This is a rare honor. Do try to be polite. You have already been granted access to the back room of the arena, and the Serpent's private chamber is just off of it. You may as well go now and see what he wants. Oh, and one other thing. The Serpent has requested that you visitate him alone. I know you usually have a friend with you, but they'll have to remain behind for this meeting.
We should have told you that Kylon will only see you alone. Are you ready to go in now?
Be wary. Kylon could either be a strong ally or your worst enemy. If anything goes wrong, I'll be waiting with the others. They're not far off.
It is vital that we talk a moment. You handled yourself well against the demonic servitor. It was a rewarding experience for us both, I'm sure. Take this as my thanks. You are a young man, but I know you have the wisdom to see that my friendship has advantages. You may find that certain opportunities, mutually rewarding arrangements between us, will come your way in the near future. Cheat is such a pedestrian term. I prefer to think of myself as a creative engineer. Like the fountains that channel water throughout the land, I spread entertainment to the people. Right now is an interesting time for an organization known as the Guild. I've no doubt that Kui has told you about us, if you didn't already know. Our organization is involved in many different activities, most of which operate below the view of the authorities of this great empire. Come now. We're above calling each other names, aren't we? The Guild, you see, has recently developed a vacancy in its upper echelons. A man by the name of Gao the Greater has been killed, and with his death, a new leader must be chosen. I intend to replace him in that role, and I need good people to back me. Did you? An interesting claim, and one I'm not sure I believe. You don't match the description we have of the killer, but then the descriptions are fairly tenuous. If you are the one who killed Gao, then I owe you a favor. Consider my reluctance to turn you into the Lotus Assassins a repayment for that debt in full. There is the matter, however, of your friend, Whirlwind. I'm sure you know that he was one of the fighters here and that he left the arena. But do you know why? How perceptive of you. Whirlwind's past is certainly a colorful one. Did he tell you that he was thrown out of the arena? Public displays of rage and drunkenness, uttered threats of murder, excessive violence, property damage, and I believe several charges of defecating in public. If you trust him, you are a fool. The Black Whirlwind is an impressive fighter, but he is better avoided than confronted. We couldn't let him fight as he was, so he left. His brother, Raging Ox, wisely stayed here and went on to become champion. You could reach that point yourself, you know. Indeed, that's a distinct possibility. To become champion yourself, you will need my support. That means you and I will work together closely. You place yourself in a precarious position, my young friend. I would hate to see your career stagnate. You see... What is that noise?
Hey, you can't...
Ah! Damn you, serpent! I'll kill you where you stand!
No, you won't, Whirlwind. Just like last time, you will leave. I can see that this polite discussion has concluded, as so many do, in your odorous presence. We may talk again. Perhaps.
We're leaving now. You and I have to talk. Alone. It's important. Look, you can't trust Kylon. I know he was probably offering you the world, or maybe all the wine in it if he were really crafty, but...
You didn't honestly think you were going to slip down here after that little display, did you, Whirlwind?
Step back, Joe. For once in my life, I've got something important to tell someone.
You have nothing important to say, you lummox. You've embarrassed Kylon the Serpent, and I'm going to make sure you never get a chance to repeat your performance.
I've been waiting for this. Time to cut off the Serpent's tail! He fought like a monster for a little guy. I've been in a while. All this best behavior when you're in the city business was wearing on my nerves. Not the first time I've gone up against one of Kai Lan's thugs, you know. Not at all. Remember I told you I used to fight in the arena? Well, I was the best there was. Then my brother came to the city and decided he'd join the arena too. The arena was about the same as it is now. Kui and Kai Lan were there, and Lucky Cho too, but he was just a runt back then. My brother became the arena champion, the Raging Ox. They said he retired, but he didn't retire. He was killed. I should know. I'm the one who killed him. Raging Ox was one of Kai Lan's men. Well, he wasn't always. Kai Lan approached me first, and when I turned him down, he went to my brother instead. When Ox joined up with Kai Lan, I stopped getting good matches. Ox was fighting his way to becoming champion, and doing a little work for the guild on the side. He was so cocksure and wouldn't listen to his older brother. Once he fell in with Kai Lan, he stopped talking to me. Soon Ox became Kai Lan's enforcer and carried out his bidding. He'd skulk around in robes so no one would know the arena champion was a common thug. One night I followed Ox back to Kai Lan's. I was drunk and I was mad. I just wanted to tell Ox how dangerous Kai Lan was, convince him to leave. But Kai Lan was there. He tried to interfere. I attacked him, and Ox tried to stop me. When it was over, Ox was dead, and my axe was covered in his blood. Kai Lan just stood there, smiling. I would have killed him if I wasn't so stunned. After that, I left. For the first time in my life, I ran. I ran, and then I drank myself into a stupor that lasted for half a year. You do what you have to in the arena. Just don't fool yourself about working with a serpent. Lucky Cho's death just put you on the Serpent's wanted list. I'd really like to see Kai Lan's face if you become arena champion. Of course, I'd rather just kill him. Come on, let's go.
There you are. The governor sent Ho Chong, one of his lapdogs, to oversee the trial. I hope you learned something, or I'll have to proceed with Song Tao's sentencing. He took you there? That's incredible. That's remarkable. Well, what did you find? Have you discovered evidence that exonerates Scholar Song Tao?
Ha! That doesn't prove a thing. Pieces of paper can be bought and sold just like anything. Just like anyone.
I'm afraid you're quite mistaken, Chandlerling. This proves a great many things, including your guilt. I never suspected the slavers were so well connected.
Let me see that. Well, this certainly looks interesting. Suppose Scholar Song Tao can go free then. And you, Chandler Ling, will come with me for sentencing. It will be quick and harsh, I suspect. This sort of thing will not be tolerated in the Empire.
It's all a lie. You don't know what you're doing. You're all making a very big mistake.
Thank you. Thank you for risking yourself to help me. If there's anything I can do to repay you, please ask. You are too kind. I have no real way to repay you. However, I do have some items you might be interested in. They're not here, of course. Come and find me in the Scholar's Garden, and I will be glad to show you what I have. I'll see you there. Goodbye, and thank you again.
I feel much better knowing those slavers have been shut down. If only I had known you when my daughter was taken from me.
Now you're one of them, aren't you? But not really, right? We have to find them so we can stop them. I know you can do it. All the people whisper in fear about them, but you stand up and fight back. But the princess said you'll have to get inside their fortress to find them.
Your parentage is below average, and your ancestry is of questionable worth. You dress yourself in the manner of a common laborer. Nobody's paying any attention.
Keep trying, just as I instructed.
Your physique seems exceptional. Clearly you are a peasant. A noble could afford sloth. Your breath is like the wind of an ox. Your last meal was of suspect quality. Your beliefs are superficial, and your culture is substandard.
You are right to demand an explanation. Forgive my servant. I instructed him to find someone not distracted by mere insults, someone who would command respect. Your demand for justification of his arguments was admirable. You are exactly what we need. An outlander strolled into the city several days ago and now sits like a cormorant, taking what he wants from the river of our hospitality. He balks at our attempts to calm him and answers requests for payment with strange coins of questionable value. He needs to go. The Outlander is not a dignitary or traveling merchant. He is a parody of civilized behavior. He spews insults at the Emperor himself. So far, he has escaped the notice of any higher officials. Perhaps he was mistaken for an actor in a troupe, but that will not last. If he is reported, the Lotus Assassins will take notice. They'll want to know if he was harbored or his offense was encouraged. Guilt by association is enough for them. That's what's so infuriating. He doesn't respond to reason. He proposes challenges we don't understand, and then declares himself the winner. Several of our brightest have faced him, but as soon as they get the better of him, he sets off his strange firework and says they are beaten. Normally, the peasants like it when we intellectuals are maligned, but they tire of his presence too. Getting rid of this nuisance will endear you to many. I hope your ability matches your conviction. Several others have fallen short, despite their outrage at his antics. He is in the Scholar's Garden, and no amount of opposition has moved him. Please, I hope you will prove to be a worthy opponent.
As amusing as your savage dances are, once again I have proven the superiority of setting your nose to the grindstone and not mucking about. Now bring some refreshments in a proper mug, or I'll take back the coins of my home and country. Don't you heathens know the worth of a proper king's halfpenny?
Generous visitor, if our customs are so displeasing to you, perhaps you should find lodging elsewhere?
Please? And leave you lot to your primitive ways? Tell them what I think of that, Squire Percival.
Sir Roderick Ponce von Fontelbottom, the magnificent bastard, will do no such thing. He means to educate you all.
Good lad. Found him wading in the mud, planting weeds. You can't keep your crackers crisp doing that. Can't help you if you don't know the horror of a soggy biscuit. I've given him dignity, and unless one of you has the will to deny that I'm your better, I suggest you start learning. We'll have you in proper trousers by the morrow. Oh, what's that? Someone stepping to the fore? Let's have a look at you. Ah, you look quick with your fists, but I'll wager your head falls behind. Too much time slapping each other, and not enough time strapped to a desk in a decent classroom. The simple truth is that I have bested every one of you who has come forward, whether in tests of wit or combat. You faced a champion of king and country. Now, I didn't ask to land here, but if a storm is going to cast my ship into the very heart of such a dark empire, I'll bring the light of knowledge wherever I can. You must hunger for guidance. You're like children. I mean, only a handful of you can even grow a decent moustache. What kind of place is this? Can you now? Shall we put that to a test? I welcome the chance that you might impress me with a glimmer of intelligent insight. But I will acknowledge that I am likely to disagree just because I know you are, lacking. We will need educated men to judge the merits of our arguments. I've gone to great pains to learn your barbaric tongue, only to find that none of you has much to say. Can you convince me otherwise? I've heard a distinct lack of couplets and quatrains, to say nothing of pentameters. Is it any wonder you people live as you do? I charge you with defending the heart of your people. If a group of judges determines that you have adequately done so, I will declare you the winner. Whoever you wish. These five, standing here. I'm sure there will be a balance of opinion. The test must be fair. Go on, talk to them all to prove I haven't coerced them. We'll begin the debate when you're ready. Then we'll see how you fare in combat. Doubt you'll do very well. Like the rest, you're all just too damn skinny.
I heard you accept the Outlander's challenge. I'm grateful you have seen fit to defend us all. I would be honored to sit in judgment of the debate. Several of my fellow scholars have also volunteered. To do otherwise would only help the Outlander win in the long run. If he wants a true debate, we will allow it to progress fairly. Of course, I doubt his arguments will have the weight that he expects, not here in the heart of the Jade Empire. I am ill-equipped to see my own faults, but I, like my fellow scholars, am adept at exploiting the weaknesses of others. Scholars Heng and Zhao are easily swayed with simple facts. Cite such details and they are certain to change their opinion either for or against. The best course is to appeal to the individual preferences of the judges. We are theoretical thinkers, really. It is not so much the subject, but the tactic that triggers reaction. Each judge will respond only to argument styles they favor. If a judge likes fact, use it once and he will join your side. Use it again and he will switch back just to further debate. Other arguments may not interest him at all. I wish you luck. I look forward to your defense of the Empire.
Oh, this is exciting. I've never been asked to jury a debate before, and now I'm the third of your 5 judges. My name is Scholar Zhao. I haven't given it much thought. I pictured myself as balanced, but some of the others are very specific in their tastes. Actually, you can sway scholars Kai and Gu by mocking your opponent. I don't care for it, but they seem to respond quite vigorously. I've argued in this group of scholars many times before. We are so used to each other that we will change opinions just to further the debate. Don't worry so much about what you are saying when you respond. Just concentrate on how you say it. He is coarser than the thinkers I am used to, but on the whole, I am not as upset by him as others appear to be. He seems bent on disruptive behavior. He should be encouraged to take that elsewhere. Good luck. This should be an interesting debate.
Greetings to you. I am Scholar Hang, and I will be serving as the second of 5 judges for the debate. I look forward to honorable discourse. I'm sure the others agree that my tastes are balanced. The minister, however, is easily engaged by sympathetic pleas, as are scholars Zhao and Gu. I find their appreciation of such fawning to be distasteful, but that is one of the arguments they prefer. Try to choose your arguments in a sequence that eventually turns everyone in your favor. Don't worry about losing a vote on a single topic. I don't dislike him. I find some of his points to be worth discussing, but Sir Roderick is a bit disruptive for the garden. He may bring attention that we do not want. It would be best to peacefully encourage him to be on his way. Good luck against the Outlander. He is a tenacious speaker.
I greet you. My name is Scholar Kai, and I will be the 4th of 5 judges for the debate. I suggest you don't mess it up. I am always impartial, but some of my fellows are easy to goad into decisions if you know their tastes. The minister is particularly fond of confrontational arguments. Respond in a rage and you are sure to engage him. Some arguments may win a judge's favor while turning another away. Vary your topics so that you don't end up manipulating the same judges over and over. He is an insult to our accomplishments as a people. If you fail in the debate, at least take him to task physically. I don't care where he came from. Anything to get him on his way. The Outlander uses flawed logic. Don't allow him to taint this forum of culture and intellect.
Ah, so you are the one who will debate the Outlander. I am the 5th of your 5 judges. Are you implying that I am predisposed to be weak in certain areas? I can't accept that. Some of my fellows, however, are another story. Scholars Zhao and Kai are easy to predict. Dismissing a weak argument gets their attention immediately and will spur them one way or another. Try not to dig a hole you can't get out of. If you can't get everyone to agree with you, just focus on getting as many as you can. Remember, you need a majority of judges on your side at the end of 6 topics. He doesn't seem that interested in gathering any. He's clearly used to imposing his opinion regardless of the recipient's desire to have it. His points are debatable, but his presentation is not compatible with the garden. Yes, make certain you are ready. The Outlander will be a challenging opponent.